When Mandela says our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians, when Tutu says that in parts it's worse than apartheid South Africa, having been to Palestine, and Mandela, the grandson of Mandela, comes to England and says it's the worst ever apartheid, then we know, especially when they're calling for BDS, boycott, divestment and sanctions, this is exactly what we can do, individually and collectively. You've got to make the connect between where we're at here in England now, your lives and what you can do, what space you've got, what juice you have left after a hard day at work. And you make that connect in terms of what it is that's complicit and where we can win campaigns. I was in Gaza for 2 years, so I can make the connect very easily. I went there in 2010, and I was a teacher. I taught a family, the Samouni family. You should check them out online, Samouni. They lost 29 members of their extended family in 2009, 29 members of their extended family. They were rounded up, and the parents were shot and attacked in their houses in January the 3rd to January the 7th. And I taught the kids there, and I was going in, and I was brought in by the kids because there were often no parents around. I asked 11-year-old Mona Samouni, who was there, and I said, what message do you have for the people in England? And she said, take care of your parents. I don't have any parents anymore. I can't take care of them. That's what she says to me. It was through an interpreter at the time. I was there also in 2012. I was there during the bombing in 2012. It was Operation Pillar of Cloud. And during that bombing, we were in the hospitals. The kids were coming in one by one. I was there for a year. And to the intensive care unit. And it was, and there was parents outside screaming, crying, praying for their kid to be alive. And we knew that this 2-year-old Haneen had just hemorrhaged. And we're walking out. And this is the bottom line. This is where these weapons are being dropped. This is the end result of the profits that are being made by actually Israeli arms factories in this country, let alone the industry that they are building on the deaths of so many and the rivers of blood that are running through Gaza even this last week, let alone the bombing in 2012. There was 170 killed then and 1,000 injured when we were there. That was 8 days of it. And the bombs are unbelievable. It's like every single thing that is normally stable and solid is absolutely shaking. It's mini earthquakes everywhere. It's a population that's mostly kids in Gaza. What do you go through, let alone whether you get a direct hit or not? What are you going through? And we went on the roof, not this factory, another Israeli arms factory in Shenstone, which is Elbit owned. It's called UAV Engines, and they make unmanned aerial vehicle engines. And Elbit is Israel's largest manufacturer of weapons. They're the biggest manufacturer of drones, and also they've had people exclaiming how they're testing on Gaza. You've got people actually saying, for example, one of the in Der Spiegel, speaking to the German magazine, Avner Ben-Zakin, head of the Israeli Army's technology and logistics, said, if I develop a product and want to test it in the field, I only have to go 5 or 10 kilometers from my base, and I can look and seeing what is happening with the equipment. I get feedback, so it makes the development process faster and much more efficient. There are many ways in which we can do direct action or just action, but it means dynamism. It means getting in there. It means we've got more in the tank. So we went up there and we closed it for 3 days. While I was on the roof of that factory, an Elbit-owned factory, making engines for drones, one of my students, because I taught in the university as well, was killed along with her entire family by a drone. So who knows if any component was made while we were on that factory roof. But we closed it for 3 days. Interestingly, they dropped the charges because they didn't want the bad publicity. 2,200 people were killed during those 51 days of Gaza in 2014, 500 children. So we've continued to build not only the arms campaigns, but also the campaigns against all of the complicit companies. And we have an arms factory on our doorstep in Manchester, because we're in Manchester, and we've galvanised local people in Oldham. We'd already done a lot of petitioning. We'd done loads of stalls in town, because it takes, to win campaigns, as you know from history, it takes everything. And it does need some direct action as well. I'm doing it because it's a key component of winning a campaign. If you look at any, civil rights, anti-apartheid movement, women's rights, LGBT, anything you like, it's got, everything mattered. The same with South Africa, of course it did. And so we went up again to this factory. This was in August, and it was, July the 1st. It was a 5-year anniversary of the bombing of Gaza. And we went on the roof of this now it's actually a 6-story building, so it wasn't as easy, and a few of us didn't make it, but then a few of us did, thankfully. And we closed it again for 3 days, and we were on the roof for 3 days, and we closed it, and it woke the whole city up. Now we've suddenly got councillors who want to hear from us. Now we've suddenly got loads of locals who know all about the campaign. And it's very dynamic now suddenly. We've got a lot of young people involved as well now. Well, you're here now, which is fantastic. We've heard some brilliant speakers, fantastic. Nothing has changed for Palestine yet until you go away and do something about this and take on what they've said. Gaza, they're marching towards the bullets every Friday. Okay, I was there during the demonstrations there. Okay, so that's what they're facing when they protest. When they take action, they are looking at, there's over 200 people being killed, 6,000 shot with live ammunition. And this is real. They're going out and they don't know whether it's going to be the last day on the planet. Ahmed Deeb, a 20-year-old, was killed right next to me when I was on the demonstrations. This was in 2010 when some started with a bit of a flourish at that point as well. So bearing that in mind, just how much, when I came back from Gaza, for me, it was like, how much do we have in the tank? We've got way more in the tank. When you see that level of resistance, when you see that level of fronting up, and we can stick our chests out and front up a whole lot more, frankly. Now, guess what happens? We won. They divested from Elbit. Elbit, the owners of this factory, HSBC, this huge bank, this, stuck in lots of horrible things, generally investing in all sorts of capers, decided to divest from Elbit. So, and this is because we mobilised around the country. And so it is about, look, I want to get Corbyn in as well, believe me, I'm out and about, I'm knocking and everything, I'm door knocking all over the place. But at the same time, you can also have a direct impact on corporate complicity. And that's where we won that. And it's going to take more, and it's going to take a lot of effort, but we can do it. Look at Leeds University, and they divested, and that's because we had national coordination. We had a big student conference in Manchester, and everyone came, and we learned how to have the tools to do boycott, divestment, and sanction that Israel knows is working. Why are they putting hundreds of millions of pounds into trying to stop it? More than that, actually. So please, all I'm saying is, take action. Front up. Look at what's happening in Gaza. Look what they're going through. They're young kids marching. I asked one of them, why are you marching, mate? You're going to go to the fence with that? Because there's a soldier there now. He said, look, I'd rather die standing than die in my bed. And he said that. And this is for real. That's the choice young kids are making. If that's their choice, our choice is easier. Whatever our lives are, our choice is easier than that. And we've got a lot more to offer. We've got a lot more to give. And if we give it some, I swear, we can build the BDS. They're scared of it. It's growing. We can definitely hold them to account and take action right here and be successful. And finally, we will get a free Palestine. Thank you.